Hi guys, my name's Nikki and today we're doing a Curious Kids from Home and we are doing egg incubation. So right here I have an egg incubator and we actually got this from Purple Shamrock Farms and they donated some eggs for us to incubate and try and get them to hatch. So right now we have 4 silky cochin eggs, which is just a type of chicken. So I'm gonna show you what kind of chicken that is.
So this is a silky cochin rooster.
And we are trying to hatch some here at my house. So if you remember, we did this at the library last year and we actually hatched Finn. So Finn is a rooster and he looks like this. So Finn was hatched last year at the library in the spring. So chickens hatch every spring and we have 4 this year and I'm gonna actually candle our eggs for you today. So I'm gonna have to turn off the lights really fast and we'll candle our eggs. All right, so our lights are all off and I have a handy dandy flashlight. So here's me, hi. And we are gonna candle our eggs. So what we're doing with the candling process is we're gonna shine a light on the outside of the eggshell so we can see what's going on inside. So inside the egg, we're looking for veins and any movement that we can see to show that the eggs are actually growing. So I'm gonna grab one of our eggs out and we're gonna start the candling process. So the eggs live inside this incubator here, and the incubator controls the temperature and the humidity so that the eggs are at the perfect temperature and humidity. So here we are candling our eggs. You can kind of see we have a dark mass in the middle there. Ooh, and it's all on one side. And right there you see a bright spot on our egg. So that is an air pocket. So that is actually the air that the chick that's growing inside this egg is breathing. And we can see a little bit of movement right there when we rotate our egg, and you can see those veins. So inside our egg, our chicks are actually growing. Ooh, looks like they're moving around a little bit. Let's grab another egg. So last time I checked, it looked like 3 out of 4 of these eggs were viable eggs that we think a chicken is growing in, and we think one of them might not be a good egg. We think it just didn't get fertilized, and that is what makes the chicks grow, is the fertilization. Ooh, so you can see a really dark mass inside this egg. And if you look closely, you can see some of the veins that are going to it. And you can really see that air pocket. And there's one of those veins on top. And you can see a little bit of movement if I hold really still. So our chicks are just growing inside of their eggs. And I'm gonna turn our lights back on so we can talk about them a little bit more. All right, so our lights are back on and we got to see the inside of our eggs, which is so cool. And the next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you a little slideshow of the process of how the eggs will actually grow inside of their shell. So how the chicks are gonna grow inside the shell. So we're gonna start that. to turn into chicks. And the eggs first have to be fertilized. So for that to happen, you need to have a rooster and a hen. So the hen lays the eggs and the rooster will fertilize the hen so she can lay fertilized eggs. So they get fertilized even before they're laying, which is really neat. And our incubator here keeps our eggs around 96 degrees or 99 degrees. So it goes between 99.3 degrees and 99.6. And we have it at that temperature because normally if an egg hatches naturally, the hen will lay on top of it. So if this was my egg and I was the hen, I would be on top of this egg all day. I might take one break a day where I get up and I use the bathroom and I eat some food and I just stretch my legs and then I come right back to my egg and I will sit on it for 21 days, which is a really long time. So for our process, we are using this incubator here to mock what a hen would do. So our incubator keeps it at a good temperature and it also monitors the humidity for us. So the eggs actually need to have a really, really humid air. So when you think about humidity, we're talking about the water that's in the air. So right now our humidity is at 54%, which is a little low. And I actually knew it was a little low because I wanted to show you guys how we keep it humid. So in our little incubator, you can see I just pulled out. What is this? It's pink. What do we think this is? Shouldn't throw it on the ground. This is a kitchen sponge. So it's just a sponge that's been cut down really small so it'll fit down in the incubator. And what do sponges do? So I'm going to demonstrate what a sponge does. So at the back of our incubator right here, we have a little water trough and it holds water to try and keep our air really humid. So I'm just going to dip my sponge into that water. And what is going to happen? Can you tell that my sponge got a little darker where I dipped it? So your sponge will actually soak up a whole bunch of water. And it soaks up so much. I actually got a little too much, so I'm going to have to wring it out a little. So you can see it dripping a little bit. So our sponge holds a lot of water. And our water will evaporate into the air because it's so warm in our incubator, and that keeps the humidity up. So the eggs will actually draw in the humidity while they're in their growing process, and the water that's in the air will help them not get stuck to the shells. So if they get stuck to their shells, they might not grow right, and we don't want that. So we want to keep their air really, really humid. So I'm going to go ahead and put their sponge right back in. And we do this 3 or 4 times a day, sometimes even more. So it has to stay humid all the time. And then there's also a turntable inside of our incubator. So it turns the eggs every hour. And that's actually what this guy right here is. So this is a motor that will cause the little plate that the eggs are sitting on to rotate every hour, because when hens are sitting on their eggs, they're actually taking the time to rotate them every now and then and making sure they're not getting stuck on one side or the other. Just like you would do with a newborn baby. You don't want them always to lay on the same side because they can get a flat spot on their head. So you're always moving them back and forth and just making sure they're not laying on the same spot every time. So we will check back on our eggs in a couple days and we'll see how they're doing. Hi everyone, we are on day 11 of our incubation. So I just wanted to give you an update, and I'm gonna candle our eggs again for you because hopefully we'll see some movement tonight. So I am doing our candling at night because to do the candling, the room has to be really, really dark. And The flashlight you have to use has to be really, really bright like this one is, so you can see what's going on inside. So let me turn off the lights and we'll get started. Let's start our candling. So you can see our egg is a lot darker now. The whole thing is darker. But we still have our air sac in there, which is great. We want our egg to be able to breathe. So I found our mass here. So you can see we have a light side of our egg. Oh, let's let our camera focus. A light side of our egg and a dark side of our egg. So the dark side is where that chicken embryo is, which is wonderful. Our egg is growing nicely. They're staying nice and warm inside their incubator. Let's grab another egg. All right. So you can see our air sac again, that bright spot. And we have some veins going on. You can really, really see the embryo for this egg, which is great. Oh, there's a little bit of movement in there. You can see our chick is starting to move around inside the egg, which is wonderful. That also helps us know that they are still growing. So they're still healthy inside their shells. They're still getting a lot of movement. And I believe I'm unsure about this egg. Just not sure about this guy. So we do have a clear air sac. And we do have a dark mass, but I don't see any veins in this egg. But we will let time tell us. So we have our last egg. We have a very clear air sac for this guy. We have a nice dark mass on one side. We can see some good veining. Oh, you can really see a good vein here towards the top. So these are our silky cochin eggs. You can see lots of veins, and our embryos are growing, which is wonderful. All right, I'm gonna turn our lights back on real quick. There we go. So that was day 11 with us candling our eggs, and we'll do an update again in a few days.
The next few videos are just us candling the eggs. So you can see a little bit of movement. These candlings happen between day 11 and day 17. And you may be able to hear a little bit of my voice in the background of this video. So when I would talk to the eggs, they would actually respond to my voice by moving. And that's just because I was the person in there every day, getting to see them and check on them and making sure their humidity was at the right temperature. But these eggs are doing great. You can see a lot of movement. Their development was amazing. And they are getting very, very close to hatching. And this egg, you can actually see the beak of the chick. So you can see the head shape and its little beak.
Hi everyone, we are on day 17 of our egg incubation. So on day 17, our eggs actually go into what's called lockdown. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up their incubator, and we're gonna do this really quickly. So right now I'm just gonna take everything off of the incubator, including our eggs, and we are going to be replacing what they were sitting on. So what they were sitting on was this wheel right here with grooves in it that will actually rotate the eggs every hour. but we're replacing that with just a cardboard wheel. I'm just gonna stick that in the bottom and place our eggs on top, because the last few days of our incubation, we do not want the eggs rotating. So we want them to sit in one position, and we're also going to increase the humidity of our eggs. So instead of having the 55 to 60% humidity, we are going to have it at 65 to 70. And that is just to make sure that our eggs inside are really moisturized and there's a lot of movement that the eggs can do, because these last few days is when they're actually gonna break out of their shells. So, I'm just getting my sponge damp here, and I've already added extra water into our incubator. So let's see. Right now, our humidity is at 60%. So when we add in this sponge, that's gonna boost it right up, and hopefully we get to 70. And we will no longer be candling our eggs, and we will no longer move them. So the only thing inside the incubator is the sponge and the temperature gauge and the humidity gauge. But we are officially on lockdown for our eggs, and hopefully 3 to 4 days from now, we will have some chicks coming out. But until then, let's see what happens. Hi guys, good morning, or good morning for me, and welcome back to you. For you, I have some exciting news. Our first chick hatched last night. You might be able to hear them. They're very, very loud and talkative, which is great. It means their lungs are working perfectly, and that'll actually encourage our other chicks to come on out. Are you ready to meet our chick? So I'm gonna show you the hatching process for it right now. So it started hatching, what was yesterday for me, so about 6 o'clock last night. And then it actually came out of its egg around 4 a.m. So between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. So here's that process. All right, let's let you meet the little guy or girl. We're not sure yet. We won't know until it's a little older. But say hello, little one. Hello. Oh, hi. Good morning. So you can see this little one is still a little wet from coming out of its shell. We're not gonna take it out and meet them officially until he or she is completely dry, because it is a little cold outside and we don't want them to accidentally get sick or just not do good because we wanted to meet it too early. So we're gonna wait until all those feathers are nice and fluffy. And he or she's just gonna hang out in here and yell at us for a little bit. Isn't that right? Yeah. Hello. So I will update you guys again in a little while once our little guys or girls' feathers are all fluffy and dry, so we can officially meet them. So 2 of our eggs have now hatched. So we have 2 little chickens now, and our 3rd egg has pipped. So it is gonna be hatching soon, and we're so excited. But I thought I would introduce you to one of our chicks. So our 2nd chick is still drying. He's still very wet. He just hatched about 30 minutes ago. He's sleepy and needs time to dry. But the first chick that hatched, we're gonna go ahead and meet him and see how he's doing. Sorry for moving my camera so much. I just wanted you to see what was going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up our incubator and pick up one of our first chicks. Oh. So you can see he's so tiny. So he's very small still. He's a small boy. He's got very orange feet and a nice strong beak. Hi. Oh, and his brother did not like, or sister did not like that I took him. So they actually bond together while they're still in their eggs. So that's something that they do. They bond while they're still in their eggs. When they first start breathing air through their air sacs, they'll actually talk to each other. They'll make chirp noises and beeps, and they'll talk to each other. But here is our first chick. And these are silky cochin chicks, so they have really furry feet. So they have feathers on their feet. And I don't want to keep him out very long because I don't want him to get cold. These guys still have to stay very warm. We have their incubator still set at 99.6 degrees. But I wanted you to get to say hello to our first chick. Hi, chick number one. They're very curious and just can't wait to meet everybody. You ready to go back and see your brother or sister? Oh, see your sibling? Yeah. So our chick is back in the incubator. He's doing good, or she. They're doing good. And we have one more egg to hatch. And if you look, oh honey, can I see? Can I show the humans? So if we look real closely right there, it has started to pip, which is just where they start breaking their shell. And these other two chicks that are in here with it will actually help them break out. So now we'll show you the video of how this one right here hatched. Here it is, this one right here. So here's a video of how they hatched.
So you may notice that these hatching videos are very fast. So these are what you would call a time-lapse video that just show the process of how these chicks hatched. So they did not hatch within 1 minute. The hatching process actually takes around 2 to 3 hours. And that is just when the chick starts to actually push out of the egg. So the first pip normally starts about 6 or 7 hours before the hatch happens. And you might notice a little later on in this video, our camera did have to get moved a few times. The first chick was just a little excited to meet his brother and or sister. So we had to move around our camera to try and catch the video of this hatch.
So all of our chicks have finally hatched. So we have 3 healthy chicks. Let me show you to them, or show them to you. So this is our last chick to hatch. It's this darker one right here. This guy is our golden chick. That is the first chick that hatched. And we also have a snoozy little baby over here who's nice and fluffy. It was our second chick to hatch. So our last chick here hatched around 8:30 p.m. It did so good. You can tell that it's still wet and all of its feathers still need to dry off. But all of our chicks are happy and healthy and doing really well. And let me show you the video of that last chick hatching. All right, what did you guys think? That was a process, wasn't it? It was harder to record our last 2 chicks hatching just because the chicks that had already hatched were helping. So the chicks that had already hatched were knocking its egg around and saying, hey, it's time to get out of here. We're ready to meet you. And you can tell they're all cuddled up in there, running around in their little incubator. We're keeping them nice and warm. And they go from running in circles to napping really, really fast. That's right. Hello. So, I will update you guys again in a little while after our 3rd chick has gotten all dried off. So our chicks are officially 1 day old. So we had to move them into a brooder box, which is a box that has a layer of some kind of insulator on the bottom. So we actually have pine chips on the bottom and a layer of paper towels, and they have food and water and a really large heat lamp to keep them warm. And then our box is a little bit special because it also has a nanny cam set up inside, so we can see what's going on with the chicks and check on them. But once we moved them from our incubator, we got to see what was left behind in the incubator. So this is actually the cardboard that they hatched on. So you can see their very first bowel movements were on there. And that's just cleaning out their system, and it's totally normal for them to be super gross. And then we also can see the eggs that they actually hatched out of. So you can see inside the egg, and you can actually see those veins that we were able to see with the flashlight while we were candling the eggs. And here's the other one. And we also have one more. So you can really see the veins really well in this egg, and you can also see the distinct layers of the egg. So we have the hard outside shell, and then we have that inner membrane that was keeping our eggs safe. And then we also have the tops of the eggs. So our eggs hatched like this. So our eggs were all put together, and then the chicks broke around the outside and popped the top off. So you can see that layer of membrane inside the egg there. And with this egg, you can see where the air sac was. So that's what the egg was breathing, or our chick was breathing, not our egg. So that's what our chick was breathing while it was hatching, which is so cool. But our chicks are now moved out of that small incubator and into this large brooder box. And here is the video of their first food and water. Wasn't that neat? So they are actually learning to drink and eat for the first time. So I didn't get a video of us teaching them how to drink, but you do have to teach the chicks how to drink. So you have to put their little beaks right in the water, so they learn that they have to lean down to get a drink of water, because they can't just hold a cup like you and me and pour it back. They have to lean down and dip their beak in. And then the next thing they got is the food. So I'm gonna grab our food bag really quick. We have a very large bag of chick starter grower, which is a great food for them. It says 18% protein crumble. I can show you what their food looks like. So it's very, very small pieces, really, really crumbly, which is perfect because our chicks are still very small. I'll show you the chicks one at a time in the order that they were hatched. You ready to say hello? Yeah. Chick number 1. We're being really gentle. We don't want to hurt anybody. But this is chick number 1. You can see here she got all dried off. And you can also, let me see if I can get it to focus. You can see his little egg tooth is very white, so that will fall off in the next few days. So this is chick number 1, who just doesn't have a name yet. So none of our chicks have names yet. That's okay. We'll get them some names. We wanted to meet them first. Here we go. So this is chick number 2. So chick number 2 is nice and fluffy and very light in color. And I'm going to be really quiet. You can hear them chirping at each other. They do not like being separated. All right, chick number 2. So we don't have your name just yet. You can also, come back here. Sorry about that. So you can also see his egg tooth. It will fall off within the next few days. He is very curious, so I'm gonna have to put him back. You can see his very fluffy feet. So that is particular to this type of chick. So these are silky Cochin chicks. And they do have very, very flamboyant feathers. So the feathers on their feet are normal. We have one more chick. So this is chick number 3. Can you say hello? Hello. No, don't run away. This is chick number 3. So they all still have that egg tooth that helped them break out of their shells. Got very lucky that all of them are distinct colors. So our first chick was a nice honey golden color. Our second chick was very blonde and yellow. And our third chick is this nice black and brown and gray. That's right. Hello, chick number 3. But we don't want to keep them out of their box very long, because their heater is in there and we want them to stay very, very warm. But that is our update for today. We will have the chicks inside this brooder box for about 6 weeks.
So this was part 1 of our 2-part chicken hatch video. We will post another update on our chicks on March 31st.